welcome.
Thank you. I hope this won't take long. I'm just wondering whether deputants can make changes to the minutes of meetings, or at least suggest changes.
Madam Clerk?
It would be up to council to decide if they want to implement a change, but a deputy could certainly request of council to consider a change, but council makes the decision.
Yeah. Maybe what you could do, Ursula, is put it in writing and we'll refer it to the clerk, and then council can...
Okay, yeah. But can I still, if I can't, I figure if I can't make changes to the October 14th meeting, then I can at least put the deputation into this meeting in the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay,
so give it to the clerk and
I'll do that. That's okay. All right. Good morning, Madam Mayor, members of council. First, I apologize for being here again in back-to-back council meetings. Fact is, I didn't even want to be up here the first time 2 weeks ago. Addressing council is torturous for me and requires anti-anxiety medication. I thought I made it clear that my primary purpose for giving a deputation on October the 14th was to address the September 30th, 2009 council minutes. I mentioned that those minutes failed to record what I felt was the most important thing that Councillor Saito said about youth banned and arrested when on city property. While I didn't expect council to change the September 30th minutes, I did expect that the reason I addressed council on the 14th, that is, what I considered to be the most important thing that Councillor Saito said about youth banning practices, be recorded as part of my October 14th presentation. It is important for youth and the council record that the minutes reflect that. I'll leave it to the city's discretion which of the 295 words in the October 14th minutes summarizing my last deputation you might wish to delete. But I request that the following 84 words be added, perhaps something like, if I could just have the overhead, please. Ms. Cooper Bennett expressed concern that the September 30th, 2009 council minutes failed to record what she felt was the most important thing that Councillor Pat Saito said regarding the banning and arresting of youth on city property. She pointed out that Councillor Pat Saito stated that a ban is not usually an instant step for youth, and that in many cases, various steps are taken before that happens. Ms. Cooper Bennett then emphasized that nothing could be further from the truth. Something like that. And I asked that the following changes be made to the sentence. She made reference to the city's policy to zero tolerance, and expressed concern that security guards are granted the power to ban or trespass at their own discretion, so that it reads down here. She expressed concern about the city's zero tolerance policy and that security guards are granted the power to ban or trespass and arrest, or it could be or arrest, I don't care, at their own discretion, and sole discretion be added, if that's okay, if you can support that. Next, I respectfully request that the minutes of today's meeting show that I came up here exclusively to address the minutes of the October 14th, 2009 meeting. So that's it for me. Also, if I may, a related item. I read how the October 14th minutes summarize what 14-year-old James Velichka said regarding his anti-bullying deputation. The minutes state, he spoke about the bullying of kids and adults every day in schools and workplaces and urged council to pass bylaws against bullying. And there is something more urgent in that young man's message to council, and I need to repeat it. This is what he asked of you all, and this is the transcript from my video. And this is what he says, in every item you vote on, please think, how will this affect the children and youth? What can I do to make their lives safer and more successful? I ask that the October 14th minutes be changed to record Mr. Velichka's beautiful words verbatim, again, if that's possible. And I'd like to guarantee James's vision for youth also be recorded in today's minutes as part of my deputation. So I ask that today's council minutes read, and just for the overhead here, and again, they're just suggestions. So today's council minutes state, Ms. Cooper-Bennett expressed full support of James Velisca's October 14th eloquent deputation before council. In addition, she repeated the young man's request verbatim and pleaded with mayor and councillors, in every item you vote on, please think, how will this affect the children and youth? What can I do to make their lives safer and more successful? Last, she reminded council that for youth to have a legitimate voice, they must have truth. And if you, I'd appreciate if you spell truth like that. Okay?
I would suggest that you hand that document that you've read very well to the clerk.
I think the clerk would probably appreciate it as a PDF file or something like you cut and paste. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
The next items are Councillor Saito. Councillor Prentice, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry, Ursula. I'm going to speak to it. You don't need to come back, but I just want to make sure you heard what I was going to say. You did refer to comments that I made at the previous meeting with regard to the bans, and as you know, I requested that staff bring forward a report showing how we can start publicizing in some way what occurrences have taken place while still protecting freedom of information and protecting the privacy of those involved. But I think the public does deserve to know what we are doing in our community centers and other facilities, our parks, etc. I think they deserve to know for several reasons, and I stated that. My comments with regard to that a ban is not always the first step, I will stand behind. That is information that I received from community services staff. I had discussed, prior to raising it at council, I had discussed this with some staff who work on the youth plan, and that is information that I was given. So I do want to clarify that. The report, I hope, will be coming forward soon. I have a meeting with the relevant staff next Monday to discuss in detail so that they are aware of what I'm asking and how we can move forward on this. So I did want to clarify it. I realize that your perception, and you are an ardent supporter of youth in the city, and I appreciate that. Your perception of the bans is not the information that I have been given by staff, and I recognize that that you do not feel that information that I received is correct. But I think once we get all of the information and it is publicized, then I think that will get rid of any uncertainty of what is actually happening in the community centers, and we can fully state and show what steps are taken all along the way, because we want to protect the youth, we want to make sure that they are treated with dignity and fairness, but we also need to protect the citizens and our property from, whether it's youth or any age, who are causing damage or putting anyone else at risk. So that is my goal. I'm glad you referred to Mr. Velichka's, and unfortunately I wasn't here at the meeting. I was really disappointed because I wanted to listen to him, because as you know, I brought in the anti-bullying in Meadowvale over 10 years ago with Meadowvale Community Partnership. You've been to several of our sessions, and it is very much a priority. And I'm just so impressed with this young man that, you know, that's where it starts, is with the youth themselves, with the peers. So I will be following up with him in his program, and hopefully we can get him to come out to the Meadowvale Community Partnership with his parents and speak to them, and perhaps even have him at our annual parenting session, because I think that's very important. And I love the comment that you made, and you know, I hope the clerk would check the videotape, make sure that those words, because those words are very, very strong, very poignant, and should be recorded in the minutes. I think it's very deserving of him. So thank you for pointing it out.
Councillor Prentice.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ursula, for being here. I would suggest and move that the submissions made by Ursula be referred to the clerk's office, and that the DVD of those particular council meetings be viewed to check the accuracy of the changes and bring them back to us.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. A seconder? Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. And now I will turn